fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, welcome to today's presentation. Look at dumplings across cultures around the world. How many of you like to travel? Show of hands, anybody like to travel? Yes, I think most people love to travel. I included. I love to travel for two reasons. First, I love to be able to experience the different cultures around different countries, and more importantly, to be able to taste the different cuisines that I visit in those countries. When I was growing up in Hong Kong, one of my favorite foods is dim sum. For those of you who are not familiar with dim sum, it is basically small Chinese dishes that are very tasty, and they usually serve it in restaurants for brunch. Dim sum includes a lot of different kinds of dumplings. They can be savory or they can be sweet. Now, Chinese dishes, of course, are just one of the cuisines that have dumplings. After living in San Francisco for many years and also traveling around the world, I realized that many countries have different versions of dumplings. And they taste differently because of the way they prepare or the different seasonings that they use. Today, I will share with you just highlights of 15 different kinds of dumplings around the world, how they are similar and how they're different. And this is based on not only my experience, but also research from different food experts, that food writers, food critics, where they think these are the most popular dumplings that are found in those regions of the country. And before we get started, let's define what is a dumpling, right? Dumpling is basically a food that is filled with either vegetables or meat or both. Sometimes they're not filled, but they are just dough, and the dough can be made with different types of ingredients, whether it's wheat flour or rice flour, tapioca, so different types of flour. And dumplings are simple but complex. They are delicious, they are versatile. They differ in the shape and also in the way that they are prepared, as well as in the filling. For example, in terms of the preparation, they can be boiled, they can be pan-fried, baked, they could be in soup. So there are many different ways of preparing it, and it creates different tastes. It is one of the foods that you can find all over the world. And today I will show you and share with you a visual food tour of dumplings. And then at the end, we'll have some time for you to ask additional questions. Also, you could share your own experience with us at that time. Who created dumplings? Most experts agree that dumplings were initially created in China by someone named Zhang Zhongjing. He is a medical practitioner that lived in the Eastern Han Dynasty, which is a period from 206 BC to 220 AD, which is a long time ago. Anyway, legend says that Zhongjing, he created dumplings to help people survive the bitter winters. What he did was he used mutton, included different herbs and chili, and wrapped it all in a dough, then steamed it to merge all the flavors, and then served it. So these nice warm packages of food people were able to eat to keep warm during the winter, and the herbs that were in the dumpling help people with their blood circulation and prevented frostbite. Other countries have dumplings as well. They do it for different reasons. Some countries actually created dumplings in order to use up some of their surplus grains and also to extend the life of meat, because of course during the old times there's no refrigeration and meat doesn't keep very long. Anyway, the text or the term dumpling first appeared in the English around 1600. And then they also found recipes dating back to the Roman Empire. All right. When I was doing all the research, I was going bonkers because it was a lot of different dumplings. How do I choose? Which ones should I highlight? Because during this short presentation, I don't have that much time. And what I wanted to share with you now with this visual dumpling tour is the favorites or the ones that are most popular based on food writers, food experts, and also my own experience. All right, I hope that you had something to eat already because you might get hungry as we look at this virtual show. Here we are. Dumplings around the world. The first is China, okay? Shrimp dumpling or hagao. These are made delicious, filled with plump prawns, and also has bamboo shoots, and they're lightly seasoned. The wrapping is made with tapioca and rice flour, okay? The second dumpling that I love is the Xiaolongbao. It's a soupy dumpling. This is eaten more initially created and eaten in northern China, like Shanghai. And of course, nowadays they come in different type of wrappings that are flavored with different vegetables besides just the wheat flour wrapping. And what's great about and different about these Xiaolongbao is inside has the meat and vegetable filling, but it also has a delicious soup that is in there. It's not easy to make, but it's really worth it if you haven't tried it. The next type of dumpling is from Vietnam, Ban Bat Loc. It is very similar to the shrimp dumpling. It has shrimp inside as well as pork belly, and then is served with fried shallots. This is something that I would love to try because I have not tried it yet. Next is the booze from Mongolia. You see, it looks very similar to Xiaolongbao and also other kind of dumplings that you see in Chinese bakery, right? This type of dumpling usually is filled with beef or mutton, and the seasoning is slightly different than the Cantonese or the Chinese type of dumplings. The next dumpling is gyoza. It's from Japan. It is also filled with different kinds of meat, filling. Also, it could be vegetarian. It is served usually with a soy vinegar type of sauce. And what is different with the gyoza is that the wrapping is thinner, okay? You can see that the shapes are very similar to other dumplings that we will see along the way. The next is Mandu, which is from Korea. They can be steamed or they can be pan fried. And you can see that they are shaped almost like a wonton, right? One of the distinguished features with Mandu is that the filling includes some sort of noodles. And then they usually like to serve it with a spicy soy sauce, mixture of soy vinegar sauce. The next dumpling is momo. And these are usually served and very common in Tibet, Nepal, and India. Their filling is with mutton, okay, other kind of ground meat, or it could be just vegetables. And the distinguishing feature, of course, is their tomato spicy kind of sauce that is served on the side with that. Next is the Kinkali. Is from Georgia. You can see it's very similar to Xiaolongbao, right? It is filled with a meat filling and seasoned differently. And, you know, it's also, because it is steamed, it has a little bit soupy flavoring to this dumpling. This is Cassinia from Brazil. It looks like a tiny fried chicken leg, right? And it is filled with a chicken mixture, and the dough is a little bit thick and it's deep fried. This is something I have not tried, but I read it is very delicious. Empanadas. This is very common in South America. And there are many different versions of empanadas filled with all kinds of different meat, also vegetables like onions and mushroom, and they can be baked or fried, and they're very delicious. Empanadas tend to be a little bit bigger, but it's still considered a dumpling. Other cultures have something similar to this, of course, is Italians have calzone, which is very similar to empanadas, and Russians have the deep fried piroshki. Another type of dumpling are knishes. This is from Eastern Europe, and it's a common Jewish snack found across Eastern Europe. These dumplings are filled with mashed potato, sauerkraut, onion, or cheese. And they are wrapped in a heavy dough, which can be either baked or deep fried. I have not tried knishes before and would love to try them. Another manti is from Turkey. These dumplings are commonly served in Central Asia, northwestern China, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. What's different about these dumplings is that they're usually served with a yogurt type sauce. And of course, they can be filled with different types of meat filling or vegetable if you're vegetarian. Vareniki is served in Ukraine and Russia. They can be savory or sweet, okay? If it's savory, it's usually served with a yogurt sauce, and dill is a very common herb that is used in this type of dumpling. It is the signature type of herb used in a lot of Ukrainian and Russian cooking. If it's sweet, it's served with more of a sweet type of sauce, or okay. Pierogi. It's commonly served, very popular in Poland. This is a doughy, unleavened dough. It is filled with meat or vegetables, boiled and then pan fried. Okay. So again, it's supposed to be very delicious. This is something I would love to try because I have not tried it before. Ravioli and Tortellini from Italy, of course. I'm sure many of you have eaten different types of ravioli or tortellini, which is a little bit smaller version type of dumpling. And they can be served filled with different kinds of meat or seafood or vegetables, okay? It can be served with type of tomato sauce or in a white sauce like Alfredo. And of course, they are delicious. And these are mainstay pastas throughout Europe and of course in Italy. Samosa. These are commonly served in India, Middle East, and North America. They are usually filled with a potato type of filling, potato and onion. Also, you know, there are samosas that are filled with meat, and they're served with different kinds of sauce that can be spicy or a little bit sweet, and a little bit more on the sweet and sour side. Here you can see there are many, many different kinds of variety of dumplings. And the good thing is, of course, nowadays, you can buy many of these different kinds of dumplings from your local supermarket or from Trader Joe's, even Costco, right? Whole Foods. And they can be just as delicious. Of course, when you can get it fresh, that's even better. But we can always fly to a different place, a different country to be able to enjoy these food. And last but not least, there are many kind of fancy and cute dumplings that are on the market. These are different kinds of bao that are filled with sweet filling, whether it is lotus fillings or other things, and they are delicious. All right, I'm going to stop right there and see if people have any questions that you would like to ask. We have at least 4 more minutes or so. If you have any questions, I'll see if I do my best to answer your questions. Raise your hand if you have any questions.
Is that?
Yes, Bhutan.
So when we come over to sample all these foods?
I think when we have another in-person meeting, maybe we have to schedule a field trip and meet up somewhere to have a dumpling tour. Yes, it's
a table full of all of them to sample everyone from every culture. That would be nice.
That would be lovely. I think living in the Bay Area, we are so lucky to be able to have access to all these different kinds of food. And going with a large group is the best way to sample all these different dumplings, because then you could just have a taste, right? Whereas if you just go with 1 or 2 people, you can't order so much food because you can't finish them all. Yes, we'll have to put that, see how we can manage that when we get back into in-person meetings. All right, Jeff?
So aside from your own personal kitchen, what's your favorite dumpling place to eat dumplings?
Oh, I have actually several dumpling places, depending what it is. Like my favorite Xiaolongbao dumpling place is Dumpling King. They're located in San Francisco. Their skin is not so thick. It's very soupy, and those dumplings are big, and it's inexpensive relatively. Yeah. So depending on what it is, but just a tip, if you have to try different dumplings, you can go to some of these smaller bakery, sort of deli places that serve dim sum, right? You can buy takeout. You don't get service, but you get great food at a great price, because right now to get 3 pieces of dumplings usually is around $3 to $3.25. So, All right, Barry, you had a question.
Yes, I'm thinking a little bigger. When are you going to be organizing your world tour of dumplings, and when can I sign up?
Me too. Me too.
I think there are already organizations that organize that, and they have food tours. I believe I'll have to do some research, but I heard of them. They offer it in Chinatown, a food crawl where you get to taste different things and people explain to you. I'll share that in the handout that I will follow and share with everybody. Places where you can actually join a group and be able to experience some of these things. Yeah. Janice, did you have a question?
Yes.
Oh, you're
Janice,
mute.
you're muted.
Oopsie.
Sorry. When are you going to take us out to Shanghai, which actually has the best dumplings in town?
Yes. Oh my God. I was visiting China a few years back, and being able to taste all the different types of dumplings was one of the highlights of the trip. You know, they're in different shapes, different tastes, and of course, different parts of China. The dumplings are prepared a little differently, and they taste different because of the type of seasoning that they use. That one, I think you have to be on your own. All right, we are out of time, but if you have any other questions, include it in the chat, and I will try to, if I don't know the information, I will do a little bit research and share some information with you. Thank you so much for going with me on this virtual dumpling tour.